Greetings and welcome to the latest progress update video on Morrowind Modding 2015, and I know it's been a really long time since we last had an update. Obviously there's been a lot of progress that's been made, and there's a lot to show off today. But first things first, we have several announcements to make, and first and foremost, as you might imagine with a title that contains the year 2015 in it, we're going to need to start wrapping things up pretty soon. So I'm announcing today that the deadline to submit your model plot claims and public building claims is July 31st. That's a set in stone date. Anyone who does not submit their claims by then will not be included in ModTown, and we'll begin removing unused plots and filling holes with some of our backup interiors. Now, this deadline does not include NPCs, model avatars, dialogue, quests, or dungeon claims. You can still keep working on those after the July 31st deadline date, because, questing is going to take a while, but we absolutely must have all model plots and public buildings submitted by then. The July 31st date is almost an exact year after we first announced ModTown 2015 to the public, so a year is really, as much time as we can give you guys. And you still have about, 4 to 5 weeks to wrap up production and submit your claims, so that should be, fairly reasonable for most of you. But in any event, onto our progress report for ModTown 2015, a project for the community, by the community. A lot's happened since our last update in December, and we're going to start off with one of ModTown's more unique guild halls, the Mages Guild for ModTown 2015. Now you can see the exterior for the ModTown 2015 Mages Guild right here, and it really doesn't look like much on the exterior. I mean, it's literally just a hole in the ground with a curious round bubble above that makes for, a distinctive light show at night, and I should mention that Melkor just updated the master file for this to make that little bubble actually spin around, which is, a pretty cool feature. But otherwise, the Mages Guild looks rather unassuming amongst the streets of ModTown, but once you get inside though, that's when you'll see why this place is so special. The ModTown Mages Guild is a magical underground lair done up in the Velothian style, with lots of colourful lights and amazing little details. And this claim was originally worked on, I believe, by Autoclock, who made the first layout for the interior here, and it was finished with detailing and NPCing by Melkor. And they both did a really splendid job. I can't think of another interior that looks quite like this one in ModTown 2015, or really anywhere else. You'll notice that the Mages Guild is really just one large room that's been subdivided by Velothian walls to create smaller dwellings, including magical labs, sleeping quarters, enchanter dens, and there's even a kitchen and dining area, and the entire thing is lit up by hundreds of multicolored lights, many of which are coming down from the rather unique mushroom chandeliers that you'll find along the ceiling. One of the more creative centerpieces that you'll find in the ModTown Mages Guild, I have to say. Though really everything about the design here is, pretty brilliant in my mind. Though it is just a tad bit laggy. I mean, anytime you have hundreds of lights in a single interior cell, you're going to run into, a fair bit of lag. And the guild hall has already been populated with NPCs as well, many of which have small bits of unique dialogue. And while quests haven't been, implemented yet, you can expect to find at least a few Mages Guild related activities in the final version of ModTown 2015, coming up sometime in the future. Now, it should be pointed out that you can actually, visit and play through this version of the ModTown 2015 Mages Guild for yourself if you want to, check out our ModTown 2015 master file, available for download from our forums. And it really ought to be pointed out that pretty much everything that we'll be looking at today is actually already finished and merged into the master file, so you can check out and play through all of our progress that we've made so far for yourself if you so desire. And next up, we're taking a look at Printer Stomper's model plot in ModTown's Uptown district, right across the river from the city proper. And as you can see here, it's a rather nice looking Imperial style abode hugging the cliff face, right next door to the city's main defensive harbour fort. And it blends in really rather well with all the fortifications here, with a lovely balcony overlooking the ModTown skyline. And inside you'll find a really quite cozy abode that, to my mind, fits Princess Stomper's aesthetic style perfectly. I mean, she's released quite a few mods from Morrowind over the years. I think it's something like 60 or 70. And she's a very prolific author, to say the least. And it should also be noted that Princess Stomper is one of the only people to be a repeat contributor to ModTown, since she also had a small stake in ModTown 2006. two mod towns a decade apart, and in both you'll find a cozy Princess Stopper abode, which is just, pretty cool, I gotta say. But anyway, I don't know if Princess Stopper is including her avatar here or not, but currently the mansion has a lovely central dining room, a cozy kitchen and a lounge area, as well as several side seating areas in the foyer. There's also a guest bedroom on the second floor with a bathroom, including a warm bath that I believe will restore your properties if you use it. And naturally, there's also a master bedroom, including a small study and lounge area, and of course the master bed. Now there's also a number of other rooms included with Princess Stopper's estate here, but we're not going to be showing them all off, for obvious reasons. I don't want to, spoil everything for you guys. I want to leave a fair amount of stuff for you guys to explore on your own when ModTown 2015 ultimately gets finished. And so that's going to be pretty much true for everything that we're going to be showing off today, is that we're not going to show off 100% of everything. We're going to keep a few things hidden for you to find on your own. And anyway, down here in the basement of Princess Stopper's estate, you'll find a sort of swimming area and bathing chamber. And also heading just down the way from Princess Stopper's home, we have the main defensive fort for ModTown 2015. And I believe we've actually shown this off in a previous video, but this fort is now 100% complete, including exterior detailing. And something you might notice here is that the banners of ModTown are now prominently displayed along the walls of the fort here, including a unique design created by Melkor. Likewise, there's a new armor set added into the game for ModTown's gods that utilize this symbol here. And you'll notice that the armor is very similar to what you might find in vanilla Morrowind, only, slightly different. So it blends in rather well. Now the fort interior has also been fully finished, though it is a bit on the small side, it has to be said. And it also has all of its NPCs already in place, including NPCs with unique dialogue included, to, just to add a bit of spice to some of the characters here. There's also a small basement to the fort, including a pretty small jail, some more NPCs with unique dialogue, and a number of bunk beds for the city guard charged with, protecting ModTown, since, even guards have to sleep sometime. Now, the next modder plot that we're going to be taking a look at is Matthew the Bagel's plot, and, I do sort of need to apologise for the frame rate hit here. This is another really well decorated and cluttered modder plot, and something you might notice is that all the NPCs here have a little bit of unique dialogue as well. But talking about the actual plot for a moment, Matthew the Bagel's model plot is a small compound of two common Imperial-style buildings, not too far away from downtown ModTown. And it includes some really well-made and scenic gardens as part of the landscaping, and the NPCs here have a number of unique dialogue topics related to the plot, Matthew the Bagel and ModTown itself, and you'll find a few shop vendors on the property as well. And overall, based on the exterior, this is a really neat plot to check out, and it should be mentioned it's pretty much complete as well. I believe it may have already been merged into the latest master file. Anyway, the first interior we're taking a look at here is the slave quarters that are part of the Bagel's plot, and they include some really cool interior designs being used here, with some pretty cozy and atmospheric furnishings and rooms, including a scuba lounge, naturally, always something that's popular with the Khajiits, and a basement where apparently the local slaves are, playing some sort of gambling game and the like. And anyway, moving on to the main house, which includes a number of NPCs, all of which again have unique dialogue. There's a few of them even have some pretty, simple quests for you to do. And in fact, I believe there's about 4 or 5 quests associated with the Matthew the Bagel's plot here, making for, I think, about 20 or so random quests that have been added to ModTown 2015 so far, just from modder plots and public building claims, which is, kind of neat, since we haven't actually started adding in any of the main quests or faction quests yet, so you'll definitely have a lot to do once ModTown 2015 is actually finished. And as an additional bonus, you can meet Matthew the Bagel's modder avatar here as well, and he has a fair amount of dialogue regarding his modding projects, as well as a few small quests to go on and the like. And one of the last things I want to show off here is that one of the interiors actually leads down into this large cave system right below the Bagel's modder plot, including a rather scenic main cabin that's home to Daedric ruins, Talabani house pods, and a curious spa with an assortment of strange characters. And there's actually a fair bit more to Matthew the Bagel's plot than I'm actually showing off here, and since I again don't want to spoil everything, so you have to check it out for yourself in ModTown 2015, and I believe, since Matthew the Bagel's modder plot was merged in the last master file update, you should be able to actually load it up and play it today if you so desire. Anyway, moving on to our next showcase here, we have the ModTown 2015 Lighthouse, which was designed by Melkor, and this is just a sort of really unique structure that combines Hlaalu and Dwemer architecture together to make for a rather striking building that can be seen from pretty much all over ModTown. And do note, one of the coolest properties of this building, an actual functional lighthouse with Dwemer lights that rotate around in a rotating reflective mirror to focus the lighthouse beam. You can just imagine once ModTown 2015 is fully complete, being able to see this tower of light jutting out from the rest of the buildings here, and it'll certainly make for some really spectacular visual effects at night time. And I know Melkor already has a video or two of this lighthouse up on his channel, but I thought I'd include a quick time scale here to sort of give you guys an idea of what this lighthouse looks like at different times of day. And of course, this is another building you can check out today. It's already been merged into the ModTown 2015 master file, and it's available for download from our forums if you want to check it out for yourself. Now, there's naturally an interior included, which again uses a sort of mixture of Hlaalu and Dwemer architecture, which is really just kind of an interesting mixture here. You have traditional Dunmer furnishings alongside Dwemer pipes and electric lights and various Dwemer machines. There's also a lighthouse keeper who has a ton of unique dialogue, including a background story on the lighthouse, and it's just another very cozy and atmospheric place that you can check out in ModTown 2015. And well, the lighthouse keeper is a bit of a strange one. I keep seeing him jump around and run over the place, but well, I suppose that's just one of the eccentric characters that you'll meet in ModTown 2015. But going on to one of our smaller claims, another one of the finished plots that you'll now find in ModTown includes a Talabani style bookstore right along ModTown's main plaza, which you can see here. And it's a moderately sizable structure with a small balcony overlooking the town square. And this bookshop was designed by Nisko Mize, I believe. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. And the interior is quite cozy with a few bookshelves and a number of magically floating books and scrolls in the air. It's a fairly simple interior, including the shop front and a small bedroom for the proprietor in back. And you'll find the vendor NPC here has a small amount of unique dialogue and also a couple of new books that you can purchase if you so desire. And since we've been looking at shops, we may as well take a quick detour to another shop that you'll now find along the main plaza, a bakery that's part of the town's main square designed by Lady Phoenix Firerose. And I believe this is actually a unique exterior building model that she made for this claim, and it's certainly a rather unique structure with open bay shop windows and the like. And sort of just moving on to the interior side of things, you can sort of see the interior here. And once again, you'll find the place has already been NPC'd with a small bit of unique dialogue to go around. And otherwise, this is a small but cozy bakery, including tons of pies on display. That'll probably eventually be on sale once this claim is finished. And there's also a number of ovens for baking an assortment of treats and goodies to be eaten, such as bread rolls, sweet rolls, muffins, and quite a number of other baked goods. And up on the second floor, you'll find another kitchen-like area, with tons of tasty treats crowding the countertops and things like that. And I have to say, this is a pretty atmospheric bakery, and there's also a small bedroom and back for the proprietors to use. And this is just one of several shops that Lady Phoenix Firerose has built for ModTown 2015. And thanks to her considerable efforts, you'll be sure to find a number of great shopping and bartering opportunities once ModTown 2015 is fully complete later this year. Next up, we have the ModTown 2015 beachfront, which has seen a bit of a change since the original version. Melkor has added in this lovely beach walk that provides access from the town centre straight on over to the beach, including a small outdoor bar that uses some pretty cool and unique designs. And yes, the bartender, like many of the NPCs you've seen today, has a fair bit of unique dialogue as well as dialogue pertaining to the town. And anyway, the boardwalk is just another really cool and scenic location that you'll be able to visit once ModTown is actually finished. And one of the last model plots that we'll be looking at today is Hingham Hire's Daedric Tower, a tower that sort of rises up out of the western forest along Croatia Island's coast, right across from Lady Phoenix Firerose's Island of Fire and Ice. Though you can't really see it here since I tend to record each of these plots separately for frame rate purposes. But anyway, Hingham Hire has a lovely Daedric-themed tower here that pretty much fits in with the surrounding landscape. I mean, there's, another Daedric tower not too far away from here. and like you might expect from Hanging Higher, you'll find 2 Daedras standing guard with a ton of unique dialogue and stories to tell. Hanging Higher has really become a master of the written word since he started, publishing mods a year ago. And although his model avatar isn't actually included here, there's still a ton of, really well written and creative storytelling to be found that you can enjoy in the final version of ModTown 2015. Now, we won't really be looking at the community consortium too much in this video. We'll probably be doing more of that in an update video sometime later next month or so. But we do have a demo file of the community consortium dining hall that we can take a look at here, built by Matthew the Bagel. Terralix's been in charge of building the community consortium, but some interior cells like this one are being created by other modders on the ModTown team. And it's just sort of, speed up the process a bit. And it must be stated that this isn't a finalized version of the dining hall or anything like that, but even so, this is a really cool looking and cozy dining room with a lot of creative designs being used in it. And next up, we're stopping by the Temple of All Faiths, ModTown's central temple located right in the middle of the town plaza. Now, the exterior of this building has been in our master file since, well, pretty much since we launched the project, I think. That said, the interior was built by Istredify and only merged into a finalized version back in, I think it was January or so. You can see this interior here, and it's a fairly unique take on Imperial architecture with a sort of pyramid-shaped ceiling in the main hall. And the temple itself is further divided into 3 main halls, including a chapel for those who worship the Tribunal and the Dunmiri faiths, a hall for the Imperial cult and the 9 Vines, and there's even a hall for Daedra worshippers where you can, offer up a blood sacrifice in return for various status effect bonuses. 3 different faiths all housed under the same temple, providing all your religious services for ModTown 2015. Anyway, there's a lot of progress that's been made on ModTown 2015 that, we haven't shown here, but I just wanted to give you guys a taste of what the team has been working on over the past few months. And we'll be back in a few weeks with another progress update video, covering everything that we missed here. Just please do keep in mind that all model plots and public building claims must be submitted by July 31st in order to be included in ModTown 2015. Since, we're trying to wrap up work on the project and get it released so everyone can play it later this year. And anyway, that's just something to keep in mind. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time with our next modding showcase.